Thank you. May be all seated. Let's give a round of applause to the City of Duluth Police Color Guard. The City Council this year is blessed with the leadership of a young man who reminds me of myself many years ago. He's a bright guy, he's kind of has a lot of ideas, a lot of initiatives, sometimes too many initiatives for our liking. But Dan Hartman is somebody who cares deeply about the city of Duluth. This is his now third year on the City Council, and we're proud to have him as a member of our City Council, and especially proud to have him as our Council President. So at this time, I'd like to welcome City Council President Dan Hartman.
Thank you, Mayor Ness. Obviously, I'm not nearly as tall as him, so I have to move the mic in a little bit. I do think it was kind of funny when I was elected first to the City Council. I went to go meet with the mayor. I was looking around in his office, and I realized, oh my God, we have all the same awards. We both went to UMD. We're both in the student government there, and literally our walls look the same in our place. It's kind of sad. But here's what it is. So first off, thanks, Mr. Mayor Ness, for introduction. But one of my main roles tonight is obviously to introduce the mayor, but also is to talk about our fine, fabulous council this year. Many know that our mayor has been willing to take on a lot of tough decisions in the last 2 to 4 years. But what also doesn't get enough attention is that our council has taken those decisions on as well. In many of those occasions, it was our council who had to agree to those decisions. And I think that's just an important point to make tonight, especially when you think of the federal and think of the statewide level. How often do you hear of the executive and the legislative branches actually getting along? Not often. And here in Duluth, we do that quite well, I think. And I think it's because of that we are turning a major corner in our Duluth history. Now, lastly, in regards to the council, in the next year, I think you're going to see the council work on 2 major issues that we've talked about for years, but I think we'll actually try to address. First, we're going to put together a long-term funding plan for street reconstruction in the city of Duluth. And I think that's going to take some major guts on behalf of this council and some tough decisions, but I think you got a body in front of you who's willing to do that. And second, we're going to spend a year of more than 6 different committee of the whole meetings going over the economic development of the city of Duluth to see where are there gaps, what can we do differently, and frankly, what's going well, because there's a lot of great things really going on, and people need to hear more about it. Now, lastly, why am I here? I'm here to introduce the mayor. So, that's true, the mayor has accomplished a lot in the last 4 years. Our retiree health care has went down dramatically in cost. And we actually have a plan in place that we're implementing on actually trying to stop our sewer overflows into Lake Superior, which I would argue is our greatest asset in our city. Now, that is great. Those are fabulous. But why has he been able to do that? Because I would say he has the opposite approach of myself. As he kind of pointed out, I'm kind of an ideas guy. I like to think of things. I like to brainstorm, throw things at a wall, see what works. I'm more pragmatic in that sense. That's not Don's style, if you know him at all. Don's style is very cautious. It's calm, it's collected, and so over the last couple of years, I've really enjoyed the fact that I'll have an idea, we'll sit down, we'll hash it out, and the idea by the end is dramatically better than it was before. And in my opinion, that's what good governance is all about. It's actually meeting with people, sitting together, and crafting a much better idea than you started with. So it's my honor tonight to welcome our fine mayor of the city of Duluth, Mayor Ness. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Oh, please, please, please. Oh, that was so unexpected. Thank you. Welcome to the 2012 State of the City Address, and thank you for joining us this evening. President Hartman, thank you for your kind introduction. Vice President Boyle, councilors, thank you for all being here and for your commitment to our city. My wife Laura is here, and the kids are not here, so technically this is a date night. We gave the kids the option of attending the speech or to go to their swim lessons at the Y, and you'll notice that they're not here, and I think they made the right choice. We have many other officials and friends and community members. Thank you all so much for attending. The state of the city of Duluth is strong and improving. Tonight, we will focus on the contributions of private sector business leaders, community-based partnerships, and the vital role of our city councilors. But first, let's revisit one of the most important narratives in our city's history that culminated with a decision by the Minnesota Supreme Court last November. It was a decision that saved our city from bankruptcy and saved the taxpayers of Duluth over $180 million. The story starts back in 1983 when the city promised free health care for life to city employees. From that point forward, the problem grew larger and more complex. In 2005, the city was managing over 100 different variations of retiree health care plan. Several of the plan designs were over 20 years old. Some included 50-cent copays on name-brand prescription drugs, and a liability that was at $280 million and projected to grow to $378 million by 2012. The benefit was unsustainable. The threat of bankruptcy was real and growing. In 2005, I initiated a citizens task force led by Sandy Sandbolt, which created a report of 15 recommendations. In my estimation, that task force was the most important volunteer effort in our city's history. Their report would serve as the foundation for the city's effort to cut the projected liability in half. In 2008, a group of retirees brought suit against the city based upon my 2007 campaign promise to move the retirees from 100 different health care plans to a single plan. After prevailing in district court, we did just that on January 1st, 2010. In that first year alone, we saw a $2.7 million cost savings. Through modern plan design and higher copays, we were able to achieve incredible cost savings while still providing a very generous health benefit to our retirees. The Minnesota Supreme Court ruling in our favor last November saved the city of Duluth from bankruptcy in the long term, provided much-needed budgetary relief in the short term, and most importantly, these changes have increased the sustainability and the viability of this benefit for our retirees for years to come. Duluth now serves as the most prominent example of a city that has addressed the runaway costs of retiree health care in the nation. Cities across the nation are looking to Duluth, to our example, as they struggle to come to terms with unfunded liabilities that threaten bankruptcy in their own communities. Thanks to the members of the task force, Mayor Herb Bergson, Gunnar Johnson, Mac Lefevre, Kim Hall, and city councilors who supported our efforts, even when it looked bleak. Please join me in thanking those who played an important role in this reform. So I want to stress the importance of the council's support in addressing issues like retiree health care. We would not have prevailed without the support of the majority of councilors. With only a couple of exceptions, we enjoyed tremendous support from the council, which allowed us to proceed with an aggressive strategy that ultimately prevailed. Having spent 8 years on the council, I know it can be a difficult and thankless job. Over the past 5 years, Duluth has been very fortunate to have a majority of councilors who have been willing to make the tough decisions, who are solution-minded, and who put the long-term interests of the community ahead of short-term political considerations. It's easy to be the critic and play politics, but what we needed was leadership from the council. More times than not, the councilors delivered the tough votes that our city needed. To really appreciate the importance of that leadership, we should consider where we were in 2008. Halfway through the fiscal year in 2008, we had a $6.5 million budget deficit and no reserve to draw upon. We were being sued by the EPA and the Department of Justice, facing tens of millions of fines and severe development restrictions across most of the city. Our retiree health care costs had grown from $2 million to $10 million in just a decade. Our zoo had lost their accreditation and was in danger of closing. We learned that $3 million of a Wall Street investment bank security that was backed by subprime mortgages and were now essentially worthless. Most concerning, the public had lost confidence in their city government and our ability to solve these problems. To solve these problems, there had to be a willingness to challenge the status quo, which is not usually an easy or welcome task, especially in government. It's often easier and politically safer to do and to risk nothing and make do with a broken system that we're familiar with rather than facing the fears of the unknown. This only passes the burdens of the inefficiency onto our constituents in the form of lesser service. Duluthians deserve better, and I believe that the majority on the council has delivered that sort of leadership that Duluthians want and deserve. The results of this leadership made by these councilors speak for themselves. I'd like you to direct your attention to the screen. So our general fund expenses. In 2008, we had a general fund budget of $81 million, and by 2010, our actual general fund expenditures in the city of Duluth was only $71.2 million. As I had mentioned before, the retiree health care issue was an important one for the city of Duluth. You'll see that in the yellow line, the projection was that we would move from an unfunded liability of $280 million in 2005, and that would continue to climb to an unfunded liability of $378 million. Now, due to our reforms, the blue line is our reality. We've actually reduced our unfunded liability to stand at $192 million today. That's a $186 million cost reduction in our unfunded liability. Now, to be honest and to be clear, we still have a big problem in front of us. $192 million over the course of the lifetime of this benefit is still a significant challenge for the city of Duluth. However, we have put a back end to that liability. New employees in the city of government are on a defined contribution plan, and that this, what we have today is manageable and will not force the city into bankruptcy. So our efforts on the budget have also grown our undesignated fund balance. You'll see that in 2008, we actually ended the year with a negative $1.35 million budget deficit, or deficit in our fund balance. Today, for the first time since 2002, we have reached the 10% mark in our budget reserve, giving us greater flexibility and ability to handle the changes of the future. One of my initiatives, most important initiatives, were to address the condition of our city streets. We had been averaging around somewhere between 2 and 5 miles of street improvement for many years, and our streets were showing their wear. Over the past 3 years, we've improved over 64 miles of city streets, and our streets are looking better because of it. This administration, thank you. We have put a priority on our streets, on our sewers, on our water system. I want to thank and recognize Jen Jolsrud for her leadership on these important issues. And the next slide actually demonstrates most clearly what we have accomplished. This is our sanitary sewer overflow. You'll see in 2001, we had 6.9 million gallons of untreated sewage that left our system and made its way into Lake Superior. That is simply unacceptable. Even in 2007, we had 4.1 million gallons of untreated sewage entering our lake. And last year, we had 80,000 gallons, and this year we will completely eliminate sanitary sewer overflows into Lake Superior from the city of Duluth. And despite the fact that in order to solve these issues, we asked our city council to make some very difficult decisions. And despite that, we have seen the public respond with support for the city of Duluth and for the taxpayers. And you'll see in the next few slides the perception of the city of Duluth has improved in the eyes of our citizens. This is a chart measuring the value of services for the taxes paid in the city of Duluth. And again, this is the National Citizen Survey results. This is the overall image or reputation of the city of Duluth. and the overall direction that Duluth is taking. Now, during every tough vote, inevitably somebody will make the political threats to city councilors who are willing to support necessary change. But the wonderful thing about democracy is that the people get to decide. And let's look at that reality of how our community is looking at our council these days. We see an approval rating that started at 53% and now is near 68%. This is how folks are looking at our city council these days. So let's give them a round of applause. What people see and appreciate from this council is real leadership, a willingness to make tough decisions and to do what's best for their community, even beyond what's best for their own political consideration. President Hartman has coined the term the Council of Tough Decisions. It's a reputation that has been earned by this generation of councilors over the past 5 years. Councilors, thank you for your commitment to the city, and please join me in thanking the City Council for all they do in Duluth. Recently, the council took another tough vote, this time on civil service reform. It was an important decision to modernize our hiring process and to continue to make city government more efficient and more effective. With this issue, as with many controversial issues before the council, during the debate and deliberations, emotions run high. The fears of the unknown seem larger than life, and relationships struggle under the strain of disagreement. But once the changes have been put in place, the benefits of reform become clear, and often the fears never materialize. To illustrate, let's talk about another recent example of reform in city government, a classic case of entrenched interest, political conflict that frustrated many attempts to come up with a comprehensive solution. Over a year ago, the administration brought forward a comprehensive reform package after a year of internal debate. The proposal sought to strike the balance between deeply entrenched interest. When it came to the council, it became an incredibly controversial issue. Both sides dug in, unwilling to compromise, and some councilors were worried about political fallout of their vote. That sound familiar? Here we are, a year later, and in my mind, rental reform has been a tremendous success. We've been able to eliminate the 300-foot rule, which prohibited people from doing what they needed to with their own property. We've imposed higher standards for property management and created the new Life Safety Office that allows for collaborative work of fire prevention, housing inspectors, solid waste compliance, and the police. The legal challenges to the ordinance have been defeated, and we are now seeing new student housing projects ready to break ground, which will even further reduce density pressure in our traditional neighborhoods and encourage single-tenant rentals. It's the perfect example of change that was painful to implement, but now with the benefit of time, we can see how important and effective the reforms have been in addressing this controversial issue. In the city of Duluth, we continue to press for reform. We will put an emphasis on service to our customers, challenge the status quo, and strive for efficiency, effectiveness, and cost savings, because, quite frankly, there's a lot of progress yet to be made. Here's a sampling of the issues and reforms that we will implement in the coming year. We will implement the recommendation of the Tri-Data Fire Study. Chief Strongatharm and the Fire Department undertook a data-driven, independent evaluation of the department operations designed to deliver the best possible fire service to the public as determined by analysis of our service runs and by national best practices. We'll consolidate our parking function under a single managerial structure with professional parking management and an independent citizen parking commission. We've established a citywide labor management committee to foster open dialogue, collaboration, and understanding by addressing the issues of common concern. After years of confrontational relations, this committee will allow us to be more proactive in addressing the issues that before they become distractions. I want to give a special thank you to AFSCME and their leadership for their involvement in the establishment of this committee. Even small reforms make a difference. We have recently concluded an assessment of our internal printing function, and we will now reduce the number of printers in city government from 278 to just 110 printers. This will result in a 40% cost savings, or $280,000 over the next 5 years. That's an applause. Thank you. We also want to highlight tonight the successes, the community successes based upon partnerships and innovation, with the city playing a supportive role as partner. The 148th continued their incredible string of success, from the Raytheon Trophy to the new Block 50s, F-16s, and now being one of the first Guard units in the nation to be designated as an active association, which will mean 50 to 100 active duty Air Force will be based right here in Duluth. It's another reflection of the tremendous success of the 148th and a boost to our local economy. I also want to recognize the efforts of the Duluth Chamber, Dave Ross and Pat Mullen in particular, and many others who joined Lieutenant Governor Pretner-Solon, myself, and members of both the Chamber and the 148th as we went to Washington last summer to advocate on behalf of this important initiative. We are exceptionally proud and grateful for the outstanding effort of the 148th and for your service to our community and our nation. A pressing issue for our city, and especially in our downtown, is the problem of synthetic drugs. Fortunately, important progress is being made, thanks in large part to Chief Ramsey, who has taken a statewide leadership role, Christy Stokes from the Greater Downtown Council, Representative Carrie Gauthier, and Senator Roger Reinert. A bill will soon be reaching the governor's desk for signature that will make sales a felony with penalties up to 5 years in prison. Thank you, Senator, for your leadership. In 2008, I asked Nathan Bentley if he would consider moving his light show down to Bayfront. Not only did he take on this challenge, but he far exceeded any expectation. An amazing 200,000 people went through Bentleyville this winter. The word is getting out that Duluth has the best lights display in the Midwest, and more importantly, thousands of children see the spirit of the season through hot chocolate, marshmallows, and the thrill of a light show that gets bigger and better every year. Thank you, Nathan, and to all the contributors and volunteers of Bentleyville. I've spoken frequently about our goal to make Duluth the premier trail city in North America, and we are well on our way. This fall, we will extend the lake walk over the Lester River and under Highway 61, connecting the scenic highway up the shore. This year, we also begin our 4-year construction to connect the Munger Trail to the lake walk. Now, so we will have paved trail all the way across our beautiful city. There are already 42 miles of Superior hiking trail in Duluth, and this year we will begin construction of the Duluth Traverse, a 100-mile multi-purpose natural trail built by our local mountain biking group, COGS, and with support from the State Legacy Fund and the New Parks Fund. Let's give COGS a round of applause. Last fall, voters in Duluth sent in a message about how much they value parks, area youth, and libraries by passing the Parks Fund referendum with a convincing 57% of the vote. Thanks to the support of voters in Duluth, in addition to improvements in our parks, we've been able to increase hours at the main library downtown and restore 5-day-a-week service at Mount Royal and West Duluth branch libraries. I'm especially excited about the positive impact Parks Fund will have on our neighborhood youth programming, with an emphasis on academic achievement and partnership with our schools. We will provide direct support to members of the Duluth Youth Agency Coalition, DIAC, including the Boys and Girls Club, Valley Youth Center, and others, who are providing important out-of-school programming in our low-income neighborhoods. I'm also very pleased to announce that through this fund, we'll be initiating out-of-school youth programming for our Western River neighborhoods, based right in Morgan Park. This new program will fill a current void in youth programming not currently being met in that neighborhood. Very exciting news. We're also excited to announce a brand new partnership with the True North AmeriCorps program. Park funds will be used to leverage over $1 million from the Corporation of National and Community Service, resulting in 81 AmeriCorps members providing 140,000 hours of direct interaction with kids in Duluth. These AmeriCorps members will work with kids both in school and in our neighborhood parks for out-of-school programming. We'll have dual goals of getting kids active and engaged in our city parks, but also address on-time graduation, the achievement gap, and providing those critical connections between a child's life in school, in after-school programs, and in home life. More details of this exciting new initiative will be forthcoming. But I want to take a moment to recognize and thank those who dedicate themselves to improving the lives of our kids. If you are a teacher, an AmeriCorps member, or work or volunteer with a youth-serving organization, please stand and accept our appreciation. We are also announcing today that we will make $50,000 of park funds available for neighborhood park and recreation projects and initiatives. There are dozens of wonderful neighborhood-based programs run by volunteers and neighborhood activists like the King Creek Youth Organization, the Chester Bowl Improvement Club, and many others who are able to leverage hundreds of hours of volunteer time and passion to provide incredible programs in our parks. These neighborhood grants will provide up to $5,000 of support for these initiatives. And we all know that $1,000 in the hands of active neighborhood group can result in 10 or 20 times that much value. This grant program is designed to support and reward the initiative of those neighborhood heroes who do so much good with so little resources. There's no doubt that courageous city councilors and innovative community partnerships are important. And tonight we've heard just a few examples of how Duluth benefits from their leadership. But we all know that the health of Duluth today and into the future is based squarely on the health of our local economy and jobs in our area. Unlike previous recessions, Duluth unemployment rate has consistently been on par or better than the state average and significantly better than the national average, in spite of the fact that Duluth's public sector employment has fallen significantly, 21.7% since the start of the recession. The reason? Private sector leaders and entrepreneurs are creating jobs, investing aggressively in their Duluth-based business, and competing nationally and internationally from Duluth. Just to name a few. Maurice's has created 100 new corporate positions in Duluth over the past 2 years. And they've invested $3.5 million in renovations to their downtown headquarters to accommodate that growth. ME Global and Gary New Duluth recently invested $22 million into their foundry and have added 65 jobs at an average wage of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Involta is investing $13.2 million to build 2 new collection data centers in Duluth, employing several highly skilled IT professionals. And as we emerge from this recession, so too do the prospects of the general aviation sector. With new ownership, growing market share, and growing pre-orders for the Vision Jet, I'm enthusiastic about the future of Cirrus in Duluth. We're also thrilled with the announcement of the new Kestrel Aviation chose Superior over New England for their manufacturing. Currently, Kestrel has already created jobs in Duluth. They currently have an engineering office in Lincoln Park. Private sector business leaders are demonstrating their confidence, their optimism in Duluth's future. In the next 2 years, we will see a tremendous boom in private investment and job growth in the city of Duluth. There are dozens of projects in the development and pre-construction stages that will be coming online in the coming months. I was recently rereading one of my favorite books about Duluth's history, The Will and the Way. Stories of tremendous accomplishments in our city, often against great odds. In recent years, we have lost leaders who have helped shape Duluth's history over the past 50 years. Gino and Los Palucci, Jim Molosky, Mike Calaleo, Judge Gerald Haney, Patrick Plies, Bill Meyerhoff, Monty Goldflein, and many others. Leaders who loved this city. They invested their time and their attention and their hearts to making Duluth a better place. Think about these leaders and think about their accomplishment, their impact, their legacy, and the times in which they gave to Duluth. I believe that the best way to honor them is to build upon their legacy, a proud legacy, to carry on the pride and commitment they demonstrated, and to believe in Duluth as wholeheartedly as they did. This is our moment to change the history of our community. We all have a role in shaping and writing that next chapter, to embrace a more confident, optimistic, and aggressive posture towards our future. A goal of maintaining the status quo is no longer good enough. We need a pro-growth, pro-reform, pro-Duluth orientation. We can, those of us in this room and in our community, can choose to define Duluth's future. Let's commit ourselves to creating an era of optimism and prosperity in Duluth. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So, our recent successes, and many of that we've just mentioned, would not be possible without the day-to-day dedication of our city staff. I have had the great pleasure to work with these men and women who care so much about our community, who come to work every day with a passion to serve our community, to make Duluth a better place. And it humbles me to be able to work with these men and women and what they do. And we've created a slideshow to highlight some of their good work that they do on a day-to-day basis. just a sampling of the fine work done by City of Duluth employees every day, and I hope you enjoyed that music. Wasn't that pleasant? It would have been much more exciting. Gunnar was actually supposed to come down and karaoke style sing over it, you know? Something like, City of Duluth employees are really super great. Something like that, yeah. Speaking of one of the folks that is a real pleasure to work with and have made a big difference during my time as mayor, somebody who takes on a lot on his plate and always kind of keeps that even keel and is a great partner and somebody that I thank every day that he's part of the team. I'd like to introduce and ask Dave Montgomery to please step forward.
Yes, I am still here. I think somewhere in here there's like a service longevity award or something. The mayor indicated that he thought that speech wasn't going to be very good, but I actually thought he did a fabulous job, and I thought it was actually very, very good. I'd also like to echo something the mayor said very early on when he called out Lisa Potswald for the service she's done here for the city. She will be retiring soon. Tremendous dedication and great ideas and perseverance, and has done a tremendous amount of good here at the city in her tenure here with the city. So I also would like to thank Lisa. Well, tonight my job here is actually fairly simple. This is the second year that we've put on the Own It, Solve It, Take Pride Awards for the city. As the little video showed, I continue to be impressed every day with the amazing amount of things the employees of this city do, their dedication, their professionalism, their talents, and their energy and their belief in what they do and with the city of Duluth. And so it really makes me proud to come to work every day working with a group of 800 or so people that all bring that to work every day. These awards are in part meant to recognize those efforts and those talents. The Own It, Solve It Awards, just as a reminder for those, with the Own It aspect is we accept responsibility and we don't pass the buck. Solve It, we seek creative solutions and we take risks every day in finding those solutions. And taking pride, we take pride in our jobs and in our community, and we become ambassadors for the city of Duluth. That's what is exemplified by the Own It, Solve It, Take Pride Awards. Since adopting these guidelines in 2010, city employees have exemplified what it means to be a catalyst for positive change in city operations. Some improvements are highly visible and tangible. Others are subtle, that go largely unnoticed. These are employees who are proud to serve our city. This year we received so many nominations, it was very difficult to break them down and decide just these handful of winners to represent all of them. The employees being honored this evening have gone above and beyond the duties of their jobs. They've become vested not only in their own career success, but also in the success for Duluth. So with that, I'm going to introduce three people that exemplify these awards across all the city operations, but there are many, many others throughout the operations that just as easily could have been recognized here tonight. First of all, I want to mention Monica Correll. Monica, are you here? Monica works in the fire department as a multi-talented firefighter and technology guru. When the new Life Safety Office was formed, decades of information from an old system needed to be upgraded. Monica took it upon herself to lead the effort to transfer rental licensing and housing data into a new fire prevention data management system. She was the ideal candidate with her IT skills and ability to find solutions. She worked diligently with management information system staff to navigate the intricacies and challenges of this new software, which resulted in improved work efficiencies and code enforcement, reduced costs, and expanded the tools available to housing inspectors, firefighters, and management. Monica continues to look for technology solutions that enhance the fire department services, embracing the own it, solve it, take pride principles. Thank you. The mayor mentioned earlier all the work going on with our infrastructure and our water systems and the overflow issues we've had and all the work that's done there. One of the key people behind all the efforts we've done in that regard is Eric Schaefer from our engineering department. Eric? Eric has only been with the city for a brief 4 years. You can't, you just stay put. Eric likes to be down in the trenches, not up here where it's in the sunshine. But during his short tenure, Eric has led his team admirably to move the city of Duluth into compliance with a federal requirement to stop sanitary sewer overflows into Lake Superior. Under Eric's leadership, the city is well ahead of meeting the 2016 deadline for compliance. Eric and his team have obtained over $40 million in funding from grants and low-interest loans. And those dollars have gone a long ways towards securing the completion of all of the various projects involved in this. Eric has led the effort to study the city's water infrastructure and developed a comprehensive plan on drinking water. He has helped shed some light on this critical issue and met with over 10 community groups to raise awareness about the aging water infrastructure system in Duluth. Eric, thank you very much. This next award goes to another group, and this is actually very much a group award that the mayor highlighted when he's talking about the street program that's been put in place and maintaining the streets that we already have. This award is awarded to the Street Maintenance Work Group, and we have representatives of that group here to join us. You can credit the improved road conditions to this team of 40 individuals who worked extremely hard this year to exceed the goals set out in the 2011 Street Improvement Program and Potholes Reduction Program. The team worked together to develop flexible schedules to maximize efficiencies and even came in under budget. They also studied new methods and products to improve street repairs and pothole patching. Last year, this team accomplished the following impressive work. Capped 15 miles of streets, the goal was 14. Crack sealed 101 miles, the goal was 60. Patched all potholes in alleys and streets. Permanently patched 231 problem spots and reconditioned Sunbee Road and Yosemite Street. These are incredible accomplishments considering the additional projects handed to them to pave the Bayfront Park parking lot, Merritt Park, and Railroad Street, the replacement of sidewalk bricks in downtown, grading gravel roads and alleys, and sweeping the streets. Accepting this award on behalf of the team are Jeff Vukolich and Fred Seeger. Will the other team members in the audience, hopefully if you're here, please stand to be recognized? Nicely done. Nicely done. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor for the Clarence Maddy Award presentations.
Thank you very much, Dave. The Maddy Award is a recognition for outstanding city employee within the city of Duluth. This is my 13th State of the City address as a councilor and as mayor. And in the previous 12, we were always graced with the presence of Clarence Maddy's wife, Jane Maddy. Jane is one of those that we lost too soon. A tremendous woman. I consider her a friend. I didn't know Clarence, but knowing Jane was a very special experience. And she is one of those, as I had mentioned earlier in the speech, that gave her heart and soul to this community. She was involved with the League of Women Voters and so many other organizations, and she was so passionate about the issues that she believed in and about making Duluth a better place. And we have a special presentation from Clarence and Jane's son, Tim, at this moment. Tim, please come forward.
Just want to thank the mayor, first of all, for thinking about the family and giving us the opportunity to say a few words about our parents. Respect, professionalism, work ethic, dignity, and integrity were words used by past mayors, councilors, and peers to define my dad's character. My dad's happiest years of working were his 22 years of public service as administrative assistant for the city of Duluth, during which time he served under 6 different administrations. Prior to moving to Duluth in 1960, my dad was an assistant city manager in Columbus, Missouri, and then city manager in Fridley, Minnesota. When he moved the family to Duluth in 1960, he initially thought that Duluth would be a great place to live for the next 4 to 6 years, his thinking being that administrative assistant positions are appointed and usually last as long as the current administration. That being said, the next election came and he was asked to stay, and that pattern continued through 1981. In reading comments made by past mayors, they said that Clancy had no interest in city politics, only in managing the city's business affairs. For this reason, elected officials did not feel threatened and were able to appreciate my dad's loyalty and his knowledge of city affairs. His commitment to serve Duluthians went beyond the daily responsibilities of overseeing city policies, departments, and procedures. A couple of examples of his commitment that I remember were a time when blizzard conditions were so bad that the personnel responsible for operating the plows, some of them couldn't make it in. So my dad, having grown up on a farm in Iowa and having served 2 years in Korea as an engineer, found his way to a grader and spent the night plowing the streets of Duluth. It wasn't not his direct responsibility, but a job that needed to be done, so my dad served. On another stormy night, this one being a thunderstorm, the phone rang at the house well after the dinner hour. My dad took the call, and after a few minutes, he came back into the living room and he said, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" And I said, "Sure, where are we going?" And he said, "Well, that was so-and-so from such and such Avenue West, and the rain's running down his yard and flooding his basement. I'd need to go out and see what the city can do." The phone rang a lot at the Maddy house. I was at a function with my dad, and we were having a casual conversation with someone, and whoever that individual was either implied or called my dad a politician. And in his calm demeanor, he responded, "No, I'm a public servant. I've been hired by elected officials to serve." He was proud of his service. It was his commitment to service, strong work ethic, respect of those he worked with, and his integrity that led city officials to create the Clarence Maddy Award, which was presented for the first time at the State of the City address in 1995, 1 year after he passed. When the mayor's office called to see if I wouldn't say a few words about my dad, they also asked if I wouldn't say a few words about my mom, Dr. Jane Ellen Maddy. Last year at this time, my mom was fighting her battle with cancer, and as the State of the City address approached, she was going through both chemo and radiation treatments, and she was pretty worn out. That being said, I asked her if she might want to skip the State of the City address to rest, and her response in her words were, "I am not going to miss Donnie's speech, and I am not going to miss the opportunity to congratulate the recipient of the Clarence Maddy Award." That being said, she got her way, and I might add she loved the pothole speech. Sadly, she passed away 2 months later. My mom's career was as a professor of psychology at UMD, where she was known for an open-door policy with morning and afternoon office hours for her students. During her years at UMD, she was one of the founders of the Women's Studies Department, which recently celebrated its 30th anniversary. She served as the first chair of the UMD Women's Commission. She served as president of the local and state branches of the American Association for University Women, and in her later years, she was instrumental in the development of the University for Seniors program at UMD. Like my dad, my mom also was committed to service, the only difference being that my dad was hired to serve. My mom served the community through volunteerism. Over the years, my mom served on numerous boards, task force, and organizations in the community, including the Women's Health Center, the Center for Drug and Alcohol Abuse, the Human Development Center, and the Human Rights Commission. Mayor Ness witnessed my mom's commitment to service firsthand through various meetings they had together related about the Human Rights Commission. She was a leader for the struggle in women's rights. In the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, she worked with the Greater Minnesota Women's Alliance to pass the ERA. In a memorial written by the Human Development Center, there was a sentence that, to me, defined my mom's commitment to the people of Duluth. It read, "Jane Maddy recognized that we are all more alike than we are different, and that we all benefit when those in need of our support and help receive it." Once again, I'd like to thank Mayor Ness for this opportunity to say a few words about my parents. And over the years, it has been an honor for the Maddy family to see so many recipients of the Clarence Maddy Award who share our dad's values. Finally, to everyone in the room tonight who has been hired to serve or volunteers in our community, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Tim, for sharing your stories of your family, your parents, and thank you and the rest of the Maddy family for joining us here tonight. Your parents were truly remarkable Duluth leaders and great role models. Their presence will be missed, but know their legacy of charity and service to this community will never be forgotten. Every year, we select a city employee who has exemplified the kind of dedication to public service that Clarence did during his tenure with the city. For 2011, our Clarence Maddy Award winner is Arlen Bordenkircher. Arlie has been with the city and the Duluth Fleet Operations. Arlie, come on up. This is how Arlie dresses normally when he's out at Fleet Operations. Arlie has been with the City of Duluth Fleet Operations for about 25 years. Arlie, as he is called by his peers, managers, manages hundreds of types of city vehicles and equipment for many departments such as police, fire, street maintenance, and utilities. Arlie has the important job of maintaining, purchasing, and repairing equipment on a very tight budget. Arlen was also a critical lead in the city's transition into using GPS systems to better manage city vehicles and assets. We just completed installation of those this past fall and early winter. Arlie is the type of person that works diligently and quietly behind the scenes to solve problems, find solutions, and work for the best interests of the city and the city's taxpayers. He is a very humble man who has gained deep respect from many colleagues and managers through hard work, dedication, and treating each person with respect. Others who have worked with Arlie often rely on his expertise, advice, and quick problem-solving skills. Many consider him to be the role model when you think of an ideal employee. Arlie exemplifies professionalism and excellence in public service. And with that and for that, Arlie, we'd like to thank you and congratulate you.
At this time, I'll ask the color guard to retire the colors. Please rise. I want to thank you all very much for being here. I had even more anxiety coming into this speech than normal, and you were all very kind, and I do appreciate that more than I can say. And since it is date night for the Nesses, I'm going to treat my wife to punch and cookies, and you're all welcome to join us. So thank you very much for being here.